if Dana comes out and says ahead of time, and by the way, he's never done this, if he says ahead of time that the winner of this fight is the greatest heavyweight ever, yeah, now that doesn't get a hold up forever, but I would think that that is so. If you're just discussing an argument, I would think that the influence that Dana brings to it does make it so. That doesn't put a damper on anybody else. Speaking of other people, because we are in a very fun time. I mean, this is absolutely contender series for the heavyweight division, which we haven't seen in a while. Why do you guys keep ignoring Curtis Blaydes? Is that personal? Tell me the truth here. I can accept the answer. I'm not buddies with Curtis. I'm not going to go tell Curtis what you said. But is that personal? Like, has Curtis done something to you? Did Curtis do an interview at some point and he came off as a jerk, or did you catch some footage on a cell phone on some website of Curtis not being a nice guy? Like, it's seeming to me that it's very personal. And whenever Curtis tries to make his argument that he should get a title shot, people are happy to point to the fact that he lost to Ngannou, but nobody seems to want to point to the fact that a young Curtis Blaydes stepped in against Ngannou, who was unknown, got an adverse outcome, begged for a rematch. You ever run into Sean Shelby or Mick Maynard? If you can ask him one question, why don't you ask him that? Hey guys, how hard is it to match up Ngannou? Nobody wants to fight him. Curtis went out and fought him, then begged to fight him again, and by the way, is asking to fight him a third time. He gets no credit for that? Everybody sits around and says they want a true tough guy in this sport. You have a true tough guy who follows the rules of the sport, and in a risky game like this, some go your way and some don't go your way. Curtis does none? Zero? The only thing we know is that he lost to Ngannou. What has Curtis done that seems to bother you?
You get asked about Jon Jones a lot. I don't know if you've spoken to him or if, there's any update with his situation. But that division, there was a title fight in February. Is it still kind of on hold, or do you feel like at some point you gotta make
it's
some
not
type
on hold.
of decision?
Yeah, we're making moves on that too, and we're working on it.
Okay, so we will see another.
We're actually waiting to hear back from Jon Jones right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will see another 205-pound title fight before the end of the year.
Yes.
In other words.
This dude is obsessed with self-improvement and reading and becoming a better individual and a better fighter. Miesha, you can speak to this. That sort of obsession is only going to help him going forward.
Yeah, he's one of those guys he's the next generation. Yeah. He's putting more into it than just train harder, not smarter. That was the old school way to do it. Everybody just fought every day, and you see the evolution of the sport continue to grow. And I think that Sean O'Malley is that next step. He's the next level. He's figuring it out. He's meditating. He's doing, probably doing yoga, like doing all these extra things that are just helping him to be a complete person and a complete different fighter, a different kind of fighter.
Why do you think O'Malley is so popular?
I just think he's unique. He has a refreshing fighting style. He fights with careless abandonment, yet he's calculated, and he has a system to the madness, but he's unpredictable and he's fun and he can knock people out, and he has great interviews and he stands out. I mean, his hair, his tattoos, his personality. I mean, he just feels like somebody you want to be invested in, right? Somebody you want to care about, and people do, and he's fun and he's exhilarating. He's all the things that you would want in a potential star. And I think that's what we see in the making here. It's what makes him so interesting. And I'd like to see him continue to climb the rankings, especially if he's going 6-0. It's not an easy thing to do in the UFC at all. And he's undefeated, he's 12-0, and people love him. He's got a catchy name. He's got a refreshing, fun style of fighting. He's just a fun fighter to watch. And sometimes it's hard for me to remember that he fights at bantamweight because he's just such a big personality and he's so lanky and tall, and he adds some really fun elements and makes that division interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I'd really like to see him move up. I think he's proved enough. Granted, he wins this fight. He deserves that. And I think he's earned it, and that's what we should see next, because I want to see him continue to do big things.
Yeah, I was happy for Corey. I trained with him before, and it's great pickup for Bellator. 205-pound division needs some talent, and he brings, he's a top 5 guy in the world. So that's a huge pickup, and a couple guys that I was looking at 205, one being Miesha, after this fight, and then Corey Anderson's right there too. So I assume he'll fight and then potentially be next in line for a title. So looking forward to that match.
you're nearing the end of that?
Thank God we're done with this, you know. I mean, it's been great, it's been fun, a lot going on, you know. Rubber match, what everyone wants, a trilogy, you know, but when it's all said and done, it's gonna be over.
When you guys started this, you were amicable, you even spoke about making sure you made the most money before your first fight. Has it become a personal rivalry, or is it just competitive?
Well, I think it's always personal whenever you fight, because, you know, they're trying to do something, they're trying to beat you, you know, they're trying to, you know, take something away from you. And I mean, I got no ill will towards the man, you know, and he's gonna have, you know, go to retirement, you know, God bless him, and wish nothing but the best for him.
Heavyweight.
Speaking of a lot of fun fights, we have Khabib Justin Gaethje this fall. If Khabib gets the victory, he wants to fight GSP before he goes out and rides into the sunset. Maybe it's in the spring of 2021. If that fight does happen, what weight do you anticipate those two fighting at?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not even thinking about that. I mean, if you look at what GSP has said in the past and recently, you know, his mind isn't even there right now to get back into a camp and fight. And I hate catchweight fights, man. I really hate them. They literally don't mean anything, and they make no sense. You know, if GSP could come in and make 155 pounds and take a run at Khabib's title, that's one thing. But I'm not a big catchweight fan.
Fair.
And all he said was, look, Vera didn't want to do this fight. We even got a history. This dates back over a year. The UFC finally made him sign the contract. Now, Sean does so many things that are brilliant. I mean, he really does. Sean is starting to change it. Right when you think there's nowhere else, you got the good guys, you got the bad guys, you got the heels, you got the baby faces. I mean, it's the oldest story ever, but every now and then, The Rock emerges. Sits somewhere in between. You don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but damn, he's interesting. And damn, he's good what he does. And darn it, he's funny. Nobody ever thought there was room for a funny. I mean, nobody really thought there was room to get the audience to laugh. They always believed it was either make them boo or make them cheer, make them have an emotion. The Rock was the one guy that came along and goes, you know what? You know what's a really good emotion? Humor. Humor solves all problems. I'm going to come out and be funny. Now, he did a little bit of everything, but I only offer for you every now and then. There's room for this guy in between. And there's just something very compelling and interesting about it. And no part of this do I want you to lose respect for me and go, Chael's out there saying that you should lie. No, I'm saying you could be a storyteller. He's out there telling a story. Once again, Sean wins.